What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 83 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. I'm Tim Gettys, as always, joined by the illustrious Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller, a.k.a. the coolest dudes in video games.
It's too late. You blew it.
You know what? This has been a long day. We were recording this at the end, the tail end of what, Kevin? What was that?
Oh, you're all tired? Oh, you're sleepy? You guys want to go to sleep?
I fucking hate you.
Oh, you're
we've been doing a lot of things today. This is the end of our 12-hour stream.
Celebrating
launching the
Kind of Funny Studio.
Did you ever hit play on the background video, Kev, just to make sure? Did you?
You too busy stuffing your face
good.
over there?
Good. Kev's over there fucking multi-hand salsa chipping. One hand with the dip, so he's just like not having something in his mouth. Good for you.
So basically, it's all coming apart, ladies and gentlemen.
This is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Thank you very much for making it happen on this beautiful new set. And thank you, Steven Insler, over on Patreon for being the Patreon producer. Yet again, making these things happen. But anyway, you can get the show early, you can get all the goodies, you can help make us do even bigger things. I don't know what we're going to do next. Who knows?
This is the end of the road.
Blimp.
I don't know.
Kind of funny blimp.
The Kind of Funny blimp?
Yeah. We should get an ectomobile kind of car. We should have a Kind of Funny mobile. Because it would have been helpful last night, right? When we needed to go do things, drive around. I wanted to go to Target. It would have been good.
It would have been good. I went to Target today. You can go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames to help support us over there, help make more cool stuff happen. Or you can support us by going to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and subscribing, just like over 200,000 of you guys have done. That's right. We once again crossed the 200,000 mark.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
No, another purge.
No YouTube purge is going to get us.
More importantly, today is not only the launch of our beautiful studio, it is also the day that I officially hit 69,000 followers on Twitter.
Yay.
Thank you. I've been working real hard for it.
Serendipitous.
It finally happened. We have a lot to talk about today. Some bad things, some worse things.
I have literally no idea what this show's about at this point. I'm very excited.
We've discussed it days ago,
but I don't remember anyway. It's a total blackout.
There's a lot of things here that we've talked about, separately in little bits and pieces, but we haven't had full-on discussions about some of them. One of those things being Metal Gear Survive. Let me paint the picture for you, Colin. Me and Greg, we're in Austin. We're at Rooster Teeth. We're in this random dark warehouse. There's an old woman there, very old woman, and I'm like trying to lure her into a trap, and it's really weird. It'll make a lot of sense. For the record,
this is all true.
It'll make a lot of sense when you see $1 Million Butt next month. But we're doing all this while I have some downtime from luring the old lady into a trap. I pull up my phone and I see IGN. I'm like, Gamescom's been fucking lame this year. Nothing's coming out of it.
It really has.
All of a sudden, I see a new Metal Gear announced, and I'm like, oh god, it must be a pachinko machine. Nope, trailer. I'm like, all right, start watching. I'm like, okay, it's a real game. Okay, it's a zombie game. It's all right. It's
a co-op zombie game.
It's a co-op zombie game like we've all wanted from our Metal Gears. A lot of people aren't happy about it. Yeah. I immediately was like, all right, people are going to be upset. I want to know how upset. I go to the YouTube version of the video. Many dislikes.
Yeah.
Started looking at the comments. Not many nice things.
Oh my! Now that's rare though for YouTube, to be honest.
But this was like Ghostbusters movie level. This was Call of Duty Advanced Warfare trailer level,
both of which deserved all their hate.
But I mean, for this, then I stopped and thought about it. I'm like, is there any redeeming qualities about this? Now, I want to get your guys' initial thoughts on it. And is there a bright side at all?
Yeah, of course there is. I'm a big Metal Gear fan, as you know. Favorite game of all time, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Thanks, Kevin, for cutting to my one camera. I'm glad you're still stuffing Tostitos down your face. What's wrong with the chat?
I don't know. Colin, talk.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I mean, you're slightly quieter, but they're
1, 2,
freaking out.
3, 4, 5.
If it's not Lou Turbo, I don't want to hear about it. I'm a big Metal Gear fan.
Colin's mic is low. No, he's just not putting his face in front of the mic.
So
you are now. You weren't earlier.
Oh my god.
So
don't get mad.
I want to apologize to everyone listening on iTunes. If you got it off the Google Play Store, I don't care. So I'm a big Metal Gear Solid fan. I roll over because I didn't have this early ass call time like you did. I blurry eyed look at my phone. I got a few text messages. I see one from you, and it's just. It was like, what the fuck's with this Metal Gear news? And I was like, what? And immediately went to IGN as well. Shout out to IGN. And I watched the trailer there, and it was like, whoof. And it's been a range of emotions. It's been a roller coaster of emotions. Your first, as Greg Miller instinct is, fuck Konami. I'm going to jump on that bandwagon. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? This is not Metal Gear. I do not want a co-op game. I do not want a zombie game. That's not why I play Metal Gear. But then Danny O'Dwyer popped up on Twitter and was like, man, this is some sour grapes bullshit. You all don't want them at all tarnishing the legacy of Metal Gear, and they're not. They're giving you an alternate history timeline that doesn't involve Big Boss at all. Why are you all being such babies? I respond, but I tell me it's a great point. But it's just the fact that it's not my Metal Gear. But I wasn't offended at Revengeance, right? Mm-hmm. Like I wasn't that bent out of shape about Revengeance. I didn't play it. I played it in demos. Knew it wasn't a game for me. It's a complicated issue. I think you're saying, is there no silver lining? Or is there a silver lining? I think the silver lining, is what the fuck was that, Kevin? That was the most half-assed you're going to get low. Then you tried to get low. Then you walked around like a normal person. Then you got low.
You gotta understand that I just don't care at this moment.
I don't mind you not caring. I was just like, wow.
There was a moment where I was like, all right, I should try. Everything's set fucking fine. the chat's freaking out because of him.
I haven't said anything though.
Because of him.
I understand that.
So the redeeming quality, I think, is the fact that, it really isn't. It's not your Metal Gear. It's not something you want. Go fuck yourself. Do I have the right to sit here and be pissy on the sidelines about it? No, not really. Why is Konami making another Metal Gear game? Because they own it and they want us to make money off of it. That's the thing. Is like, am I really allowed to sit here and from a trailer be so negative
without
to
any
it?
gameplay at all?
Be so negative, and it was like, because it's just. They're not even calling it Metal Gear Solid, right? They're calling it Metal Gear. They're like, we're doing something different here, and we're going to use this franchise. Do I think it's a right move? No. What I want to see them do with it is just stop making Metal Gear. They're not going to.
But why
do that.
would they do that though? You know,
exactly.
I think that's the problem. There is that they have no incentive to stop making their biggest game franchise. You know, it's like it doesn't make any sense. Like Kojima being gone, I'm sure they're not happy about that overall in terms of the quality of their games and like what that means, and especially with all the shit that they have to deal with now. But from a business perspective, unless they're totally going to just stop the whole gaming side, which isn't that far out of their future.
Yeah, AAA gaming.
Why would they? Until they back out AAA gaming, they have one of the biggest AAA games in the franchises. Why not continue in some way?
And so that's the whole thing. Is like, I don't believe this is the right. For me, this isn't the right foot forward for the Metal Gear thing.
So let me ask you a question there. So that's what I see the trailer, and I was just like, God, this is disaster written all over it. The redeeming qualities to me are Fox Engine. I loved how Metal Gear Solid 5 played.
Sure.
More game set in that. Cool. Like another like Ground Zeroes style thing. Cool, I'm fine with that.
I mean, my argument to that, or not even argument, my I'm gonna poke a hole in it and not just be a fanboy. That is like, well, how much did you like Metal Gear Online? How much Metal Gear Online did you play?
None.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Is this going to be like a Peace Walker thing, or is it going to be like a Metal Gear Online thing?
Well, it looks like it's going to be Metal Gear Online. I mean, that's the thing is, I'm just trying to look at the few things that I do like about it, and that is the engine and the gameplay of it. Because the moment you go out of that, you look at it, it's like the biggest issue for me is that it looks like Resident Evil, Raccoon City, Outbreak, or whatever it was called. But it also kind of looks like the aesthetic of the Resident Evil movies, which is not a compliment. You know, it definitely has a vibe of like, all right, we're taking Metal Gear, but really there's nothing to do with Metal Gear at all. And I think at least that's a good thing, right? At least they're like, all right, there's a weird portal.
See, it's funny that you say that's the good thing, and it is the silver lining. Even I point out, but it is like also that's what's so offensive about it. But this is that weird thing we all walk that line of being fans and being industry pundits or insiders, wherever the hell we are. I understand the business decision. I think they're doing it in the best way they can of trying to get around it. But it's still like, it's so obviously let's cash in on the Metal Gear name. It's so obvious, let's keep going. And I can't fault them for it. When Colin dies, I'm still going to call it Colin and Greg Live. I'll just find another Colin, or I'll rename Nick. It's easy.
Yeah, it is pretty easy. So, okay, that leads me to my bigger point here is looking at what Konami could have done. What could the future of Metal Gear been? Because the options I see are, don't ever make another Metal Gear.
Sure, which is not really plausible. You're a business.
Remake one of the other ones.
Sure. Which is offensive then to Kojima's legacy and everything else.
Continue the storyline.
Which everybody would forget about as well.
Do a spin-off that is canon, or do something like this that is as different as it can be while still being part of it.
I mean, for me, if I'm at Konami, Kojima walks. It's this huge PR nightmare, inside gaming, because that's the whole thing, right? Of like, we always talk about this. Our core audience, you watching this show right now, of course, I pointed to the camera because I'm doing a soliloquy, thinking that it would be on me, but Kevin's over there fucking trying to find all the salsa he can. He's shaking trees outside looking for salsa jars.
I'm afraid to talk. I don't know if my microphone works.
If I'm in Konami HQ and I know we have to make a Metal Gear game, what I would want to do is go find a name in the industry that people like and trust and say, we want you to make the next Metal Gear. We want it to be totally different. It can be in the same universe if that's what you want, but we aren't telling Big Boss's story. We aren't telling Snake's story. You can have a crossover here or there, but I would want to see them reach out and be like, and I mean, go fucking crazy of like, Cliff Bleszinski, what would your Metal Gear look like? You know what I mean? Like a name that people would be like, that's fucking crazy, but we understand what you're in that. And I would put out a statement that's like, Hideo Kojima's legacy is, I mean, you can't put it into words what it means for gaming, let alone Metal Gear. But we believe in what the Metal Gear franchise and, you know, name means, and we want to see that apply to somebody else. So we've partnered with Lauren Lanning, Cliff Bleszinski, Steve Gates. You know what I mean? I'm talking about weird Ken Levine, like names that don't even make sense when you hear it, but like, okay, yeah, what would their Metal Gear look like? Because then it is the best of both worlds in a way of creator that our core audience, what we believe in, understands and gets excited about, and then what the mass consumer who's a Metal Gear fan and has no idea that Hideo Kojima is connected to this thing, what they think out of it.
The thing there, all those people, right? Because I feel like there's a short list of names that you can even think of when you're talking about people in that echelon.
Yeah.
When it comes to, you know, quality of their work combined with notoriety and people knowing who they are.
Right.
All of those people, like, I can't see them looking at a game like Metal Gear, a franchise like Metal Gear, and being like, I'm gonna do my version.
Oh no, 100%. No, I don't get me wrong. That's why it's such a hard sell and why it's next to impossible, right? Is the fact that I'm sure if you went to Cliff Bleszinski, he's like, do you want to do Metal Gear? He would go, fuck you, Konami. No, I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You did. I've seen how you treat your creators. I've seen how you treated his legacy. No, I don't want to come make something
it's
for
something you see something like Star Wars, where, you know, Lucas made masterpieces, then he fucked up, and then J.J. Abrams came in, and that was different, right? Like they fucked that up. Whereas Metal Gear Solid never really got fucked up. It had issues here and there. There's been something.
The lolly looly lolo.
I mean, we're not getting Star Wars prequel level fuck ups of classics, right? Like Metal Gear Solid 5, is it Metal Gear Solid and like all that? Whatever, it's still amazing. You know what I mean? Like that's my point. Is it's like we're not getting the Phantom Menace.
And that's my whole argument with the whole thing of like where I find myself tossing and turning in terms of this argument. I'm a flip flopper. I'm a John Kerry here. I'm swift boating. Is the fact that technically, right? Like Metal Gear Solid 5, my critique, right? It didn't have Metal Gear moments in terms of the story. So that's not my Metal Gear, but I loved the gameplay and I enjoyed everything. And there were like, it was peaks and valleys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so can I really sit here and be so like, oh, my monocle falls out when I see this trailer, and we knew they were going to continue doing stuff with it. Does that make it right? No. Does that make it wrong? No.
I think what's so crazy about it is how unexpected it was.
Sure,
None of us thought it was going to come this soon, this way. Like, here's a trailer, it's happening or whatever. And now that they had to do a little bit of damage control because a lot of people are like, fuck this. And then they come out, they're like, it's not a $60 game.
I didn't see this. I haven't heard this.
Oh, yeah. They didn't say the price, but it's not going to be $60 coming out next year.
Okay.
And it's like, I think that doesn't solve the problems with this, but at least kind of gives a framing to it all where it's just like, all right, it's essentially just DLC. You know?
Yeah, I guess. But
it's the modern day DLC.
It's just that thing of like, if you wanted to do it right, dial back my creator comment, dial back whatever, right? I would say we're releasing a Metal Gear, and it's brand new, and it's story driven, and story based. We're going to give you an experience like Metal Gear Solid. You know what I mean? We are going to give you something with tangible characters, things you care about. We're going to get you back into this and invested. Not, we're going to give you this side story, and it's going to be zombies, and you're going to be your co-op. And it's just like, what is this? Why am I, as a Metal Gear fanboy, excited about this? I'm not. And it's not even I'm not excited about it because I have bad blood with Konami, which I don't, right? Like, I understand business. I know how things go. I can't wait to fire Kevin.
I mean, when you look at all that stuff and put it on the table, it's brand new, beautiful
This table?
With, like, Revengeance didn't do too well. Critically, it did fine, but in terms of sales, it didn't do well at all. So that kind of said a lot about the metal, like what Metal Gear is and how much resonance that has with people. Adios.
Bye, Nick Scarpino. Congratulations on your studio launch. Real quick aside, that's what we talked about with the sales of Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, right? Where it wasn't gangbusters. This thing did so many units. It did well, but it didn't do nearly as much as I think people thought it was going to do.
But with Revengeance, it was even.
Oh, yeah,
like,
no.
That was like.
I'm Raiden. I
poorly.
love you, Rose.
So with this, I don't think that anybody can make a Metal Gear Solid game the way we think of it, besides Kojima.
And that's why I blow it up and just take the name.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they could. And I think this is, to me, it's a cash grab. But I think it's from a business point of view, it's the right move in order to make
100%.
the most money using a thing that they are totally just tarnishing.
It's another great way. There's like two sides to it where I'm saying like, yeah, get a name attached to it, right? That'd be awesome. Would anybody do it? No, unless you want to really shell out money and blah, blah, blah. And this is the problem is we're talking about me being at Konami and running Konami the way I would see it. Clearly, I don't agree with them and a lot of their business practices here. The other way to do it would be to take and elevate from the Kojima team, if anyone's still around, who's that core person, or a young up-and-coming creator like that, of somebody who is, I grew up on these games and I know what I'm doing and I have my own story to tell. But like that narrative is so hard to tell as well, and it's going to be, hey, I'm this guy you've never seen before, and the internet just bashing him or her over the head over and over and over again.
I mean, I think the right way to do it is to kind of go to the guys that grew up playing Metal Gear and have them make their game, but then those people make volume, And so it's like they're not going to make their own Metal Gear Solid and stuff. So it's like, I don't know. My thing is, I'm not going to play this. You're right. Like, it's like, I don't know. Who is the target audience for this besides just people that are just going to look at it? Because it is pretty. Metal Gear Solid 5 is very, very pretty.
Yeah.
So using that, the Fox engine's awesome. So that alone, someone walks into a GameStop and sees it on the video screen. I can see people that don't understand being like, I've heard of Metal Gear. I like fighting zombies.
I like zombies. I want to play something with my friends. I want to do this. Yeah.
This reminds me a lot of the Undead, the Red Dead Redemption.
Undead Nightmare?
Yeah. That or then there was was it Infamous that had the
Festival of
Blood.
Blood.
Festival of Blood. It's like, this reminds me kind of that. In a way,
but
right?
Undead Nightmare was so exciting because it was more Red Dead, but completely different. And even Infamous was the same way of like, here's a standalone piece of content you're going to get and you get back into New Marais and have a different spin on it.
You know what's interesting?
It was criminally underrated.
I
too.
wonder if Kojima was related to this, what people would react, how negatively they would. I don't think it would be positive, but
I think it would. No, I mean that's the thing. Like if let's say right now it was Metal Gear, was it Metal Gear Survival? Is that what it's called?
Metal Gear Survive.
Survive. Sorry, Metal Gear Survive. Hideo Kojima's Metal Gear Survive. My initial thought of we're playing a co-op. Oh, it's gonna be like Peace Walker. I'm gonna have a multiplayer experience like Peace Walker, where I'm playing and infiltrating and doing all these things with. But even then, I'm like infiltrating the zombies with their ash face and ash head or whatever that I'm shooting. I don't. No, that's not what it's going to be. And so then it does become, is it going to be a la Resident Evil, the action Resident Evils here we've gotten at the end? That doesn't sound good to me. I don't want that.
Yeah. What do you think, Cole?
I don't know. I saw it and I kind of just glazed over when I was reading it because I mean it's not a huge surprise. I mean the things that Greg was saying are interesting but not possible simply because
100%.
Konami didn't treat Kojima's exit right. But this isn't what we're losing sight of is that this isn't the first time they've treated someone like that. They did this to Koji Igarashi too. So, and they really like shit on Castlevania and gave it to a studio that didn't deserve it. And so I feel like the right move for Konami as a publisher would actually be to go to a franchise like Contra, I think, and ignore these other things that they've kind of ruined and find someone to work on it with work on that game. The thing is that you're not, and this point was made, is that they're really going to be unable to make any sort of, or attract any sort of talent. You can elevate someone from Kojima's team, except for the fact that he took everyone. It sounds like so, like that he cared, that he wanted. So the people internally know what happened to that team, and so I don't know that anyone really wants to work with them. But to your point, the Fox engine exists. The game's being made, and it sounds like in less than 2 years, which is actually ridiculous by modern terms for the A or AAA space. So they're reusing assets and they're doing what's wise. Here's the major wise as a publisher, wise to make money. But here's the major thing, and this is what I was saying when we went to Denver to do PS I Love You. You're gonna buy it. So, and I'm not saying you guys, but I'm saying there's tons of people out there that are going to buy this game because they don't put their money where their mouth is and they can't resist Metal Gear. Just like I said when Mass Effect 3 came out and everyone was bitching and whining about it, I guaranteed and said that many of you, most of you, a vast majority of you will buy the next Mass Effect game as if nothing ever happened because you don't know how to make publishers pay for the decisions they make. And if you want to hurt Konami, don't buy the fucking game.
When you say lots, though, do you mean like it's going to? I think it's going to chart. Like I think this is going to be a miss. I think this game is not going to do well. Lots meaning
maybe
thousands of people are going to buy it for sure.
Well, more than thousands of people are going to buy it.
I know, but I'm trying to say, you know what I mean?
It'll do better or worse than Revengeance.
Yeah, like Metal Gear Rising was
a great way to do it.
I think it's probably going to do like comparable, if not better, than Metal Gear Rising, especially because it's not going to be a $60 game. So, I just my one big thing is like if you didn't like Mass Effect 3, then don't buy Andromeda. They screwed you. You feel screwed over, but you forget, you know. And I think so. You're going to buy it. And you're all going to buy Andromeda, right? Everyone that bitched about Mass Effect. And I do feel like a major subsect of the Metal Gear fan base is going to buy this game because because they're curious. I don't really begrudge a person from doing that. I'm not saying it's necessarily wrong because if someone, you know, look what Capcom did to Inafune, but I would buy the next Mega Man game in 2 seconds. So it's not like I'm saying like you're a hypocrite, you're a bad person. Sure. I'm just saying that the Kojima situation is very unique and very specific, I think. He's a great visionary game developer, and Konami really did mistreat him, but like I said, they do have a track record of doing this. They did this to someone else who's not as well known, but they did it to him too. And if we knew the internal workings of their other teams and the things that have gone over the years, I'm sure you'd find that they probably maybe had done this, you know, maybe not sure, but maybe they have done this to others as well. So they're in between a rock and a hard place. They have to use the assets they have, and they have to use the talent they have because they're not going to be able to attract anyone else.
Well, this is one of the things I honestly think it's a little bit apple and oranges. Mass Effect 3 Andromeda to this and Metal Gear fucking Survive, because I feel like it's not like the Mass Effect. The narrative is so easy, right? Mass Effect. I played 3 games. I enjoyed my ride. I hated the ending. I didn't like that there were 3 choices. Blah 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 blah. Andromeda is going to come out and be like, hey, we've taken that feedback. We're building a universe. This is what's happening. But it's still at the core the same gameplay. I feel this is going to have the impact and the weight and the resonance as, sure, Revengeance, or it's going to have it as Acid, where it's like, oh, cool, this isn't like you're an informed consumer. You look into, sure, Acid sold, people played it, but it wasn't like, oh, fuck, this is a runaway success. This is so different for the franchise that I feel enough people will stand back on the sidelines and see what happens. And unless they fucking pull a rabbit out of their hat and they sit down and everybody's like, oh man, this is like Left 4 Dead, but in the Metal Gear universe, this is awesome. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I think the major thing here is that, you know, I don't have any respect at all for Konami as a company. I don't. They're the only publisher in the entire industry where I'm like, you know, you guys can go fuck yourselves. Your game was transparent, and I'm not talking about the game Metal Gear. I'm saying the game they played with Kojima is transparent. They screwed around. They disrespected him. They wouldn't let him show up to accept an award. They did all this bullshit to him. And we don't know the internal workings, but you have to have at least a better PR face than that. They burned a lot of bridges with a lot of people. Just remember that when the next game comes out.
100%. I think that's one of the things people won't forget.
And I think it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for me too. Like when they inevitably bring back Castlevania, you know, like what do I do then? I don't know, but I know that, you know, they burned someone that I really care about too, and fucked up a franchise I really care about too, which was really not their most important franchise, but a franchise that many of us grew up with. So, you know, Konami, I was surprised that they were getting back into this soon, to be honest.
I thought they were going to take a long break.
And I think that might have been the wisest move. I think if you gave this a few years and just let it go, and then it came back later and made a real Metal Gear game, even a canon Metal Gear game, I think they would have gotten away with it better than they were getting away with this, because time does heal all wounds. But I'm not even a Metal Gear fan anymore. I was. I just can't respect the company that handled the situation the way that they handled it. And it's maybe not individuals there at fault, but someone is at fault there. And but Metal Gear is so irresistible to a lot of people, just like Mass Effect so irresistible to a lot of people, just like Castlevania and Mega Man would be very irresistible to me, even though they screwed over, you know, those companies seem to have screwed people that I cared about as well. So it's an interesting kind of thing. I think the game looks fucking terrible, and you know, we'll see how. We'll see how, like, you want to milk that Metal Gear name, but then it has nothing to do with Big Boss, has nothing to do with the canon, so why even call it Metal Gear? But then because it's going to sell copies. Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see how it all turns out. My biggest concern, the biggest red flag is the gestation period of, you know, the game came out September 2014, right? No, 2015. Yeah. September 2015. And then this will come out no later than fall, probably 2017. So you're talking about 2 years. It's not a very long time to make a triple.
And not only 2 years, 2 years of turmoil, of teams torn apart. Konami LA, who was the online team, gets laid off. What's happening? It's not like it's been a team that's been
working on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll see how it all works out.
We will.